Hello, this is Reiki Master Angelia. Today we are starting on Works of Hearts, Reiki Level 2, and Natural and Complementary Healing Training Program. If you've taken one, welcome. If you've taken one, then you are a Reiki 1 provider. You can make yourself a certificate. You can contact me, make you one, if you can prove it. And of course, I'd like to thank my two Reiki masters, Joyce Garish and Patrice Joy Masterson, for being my Reiki masters. Otherwise, I wouldn't know anything about this. Okay, so we're going to start off with home life. Reiki is a wonderful, calm, peaceful joining of energy between two people who are at one with each other. Present in the moment. Remember, you gotta live in the moment. Healing and restoring the whole body. That's a quote by Linda, 31, a Reiki student. Developing closeness. If you and your partner have had an argument and are ready to make up, try this exercise. That's, if you have a partner. Alternatively, do the exercise when you feel you haven't had much quality time together recently or are feeling quite disconnected from one another. You can play gentle music while doing it if you like. You could even try the exercise during lovemaking in order to experience your sexuality on a deeper level. And, that's if you have that much forethought and restraint to do that. That's all I'm gonna say. Suffused with feelings of love, tenderness, trust, caring, and unity. So it's not all about, lust and weird stuff you're doing here. Sit face to face, close enough that you can each comfortably reach your partner's chest. So, within touching distance of each other. Use cushions to make you feel at ease. And usually the easiest way is y'all to sit close to each other and have your legs kind of going over each other's knees, Each of you should lay your right hand on your partner's heart center and your left hand over his or her hand on your own chest. Drop your chin. Keep your breathing relaxed and allow the Reiki energy to flow into the chest area while gazing gently into each other's eyes. Kind of a relaxed gaze, not a staring at you gaze. After 1 or 2 minutes, both of you should close your eyes. Stay for as long as you like in this position, perhaps for 15 to 20 minutes. You may feel a strong sense of love and unity. Okay, and now we're moving to chakra centers. In my opinion, it doesn't matter. It's chakra. Some people get hung up on pronunciations of things. It's the same thing. We all know it. It's not a big deal. You're not more professional if you pronounce something a certain way. People might think that, but that's them. That's not a reflection on you. Chakra means wheel of energy. The 7 major chakras are doorways for life force energy called prana or chi. Chakras are consciousness centers that transform energy and interface between the dense physical world of the 5 senses and the subtle world of pure consciousness. The lotus petals include the frequency, and I'm going to pause this for a minute. Someone's being rude and calling me. And they didn't want anything. So back to where we were. The subtle worlds of pure consciousness. The lotus petals indicate the frequency, vibration rate, and color of energy fields. And by that, we're talking about the chakras. Relationships. Yep. Health, psychic ability, love, balance, creativity, and emotions. As the energy centers of the body, the chakras allow us to experience all of the different levels of the cosmos. The way they wrote this, it's kind of weird. It's kind of shoved in there. The chakras are influenced through the use of gems, colors, sounds, and the five senses. These tools can aid or hinder chakra function. And again, that's if you believe in that sort of thing. Not everybody, believes in using gems. I have some quartz and I have a amethyst because my brain is going and sometimes I need to really remember something. And so, I'll put it right there in your little third eye, your little unicorn spot, if you want to call it that. Colors, again, we all know there's a lot of, psychological and science, study behind colors, how they make you feel. So we know that's a thing. Sounds, of course, if it sounds irritating you, that's not going to make you relax and, be able to meditate or anything. So, your senses, it's better, like, if you want to go meditate, you want to go into a quiet place. You don't want to go where there's a lot of noise, a lot of stuff going on, unless you're a Zen master, and you can sit there and all of that and still be chill, you want to find a nice quiet place. Okay, the crown chakra, the seventh one, the chakras generally go down, start at the bottom and go up. We're going to talk about them as, the up and down. It's just easier that way. And they usually diagram on all the diagrams that way. So it's just easier to go down the page for me than to start jumping around for you. The causal body, which the crown, the seventh chakra, the Sahasrara chakra, which is, above your crown. The mental body is controlled by the third eye, or the sixth chakra, which is called Ajna. It's between your eyebrows, your third eye. The astral or emotional body is controlled by the throat chakra, the fifth chakra. Vishuddha is what it's called. It's your throat area. The heart is also in this category, which is your fourth chakra, Anahata chakra. It's in the middle of your chest, over your heart, or actually behind your heart, because the chakras start at the base of your spine and move up. The physical body is controlled by the navel, or the third chakra. It's the Manipura chakra, and that's your solar plex there, down in your upper abdomen, center of that. The sacral is the second chakra, the Svadhisthana chakra, and it's above your genitals in the lower abdomen. And the root chakra is the first chakra. That's the Muladhara, which is below your genitals. That's some people like to call it your taint chakra. But, so that's where that comes from. The prana energy, the chakras are outside the body as subtle gates in a second kind of attention system like the five senses. And I think pretty much everyone agrees that we have aura. I'm sure there's some people who probably don't, but there's been science done on it, photographing and all that stuff, so that, pretty much everyone knows you have an aura. Chakras are invisible vortices, like tops of spinning energy that resonate to the different energy frequencies and then sense and distribute prana, or life force energy, to the physical body as many different emotions, sensations, and thoughts. And I talked to actually a neuro psychologist about this once. And the chakras are actually positioned behind nerve bundles. There are nerve bundles behind, in front of these chakras. So, science is starting to find out, all this stuff that, the ancient people believed in, and, that more New Age people, believe in. There's some science behind it. This isn't just BS that somebody made up, a long time ago. The yogis were very in touch with their bodies, and, more so than we probably ever will be. They could do some crazy things with their bodies. But, there is science that you have these nerve bundles at these points. And that's why it's, radiating this energy in the form of your chakras. The first chakra is the lower and most dense. The 5 lower chakras relate to physical body functions. The 6th chakra relates to the mind's higher mental functions. The 7th chakra is the highest and most subtle and relates to pure spiritual consciousness. The goal is to keep the chakras open and balanced with energies that are positive, like light and sound, and to correct the negative energy effects that block the harmonious flow of life force energy. And so if you're looking at your body, and you have your right and your left, it's going to be opposite for you because you're looking at me from a camera. But your right sends Reiki or closes. Your left receives or opens. Your prana energy enters the body in 2 streams like a battery, with a positive pole, the Pingala masculine, and a minus pole, the Ida feminine. Prana circulates through the body in a system of nadis, or meridians. Excuse me. And they're going to talk about that, in yoga. They're going to talk about that in Chinese medicine. The nadis and chakras are located in the etheric body, or, the aura around your body. The blueprint for the physical body, and this is back to, Ayurveda. You have a spiritual body, which is the blueprint for your physical body, they believe. Prana spirals through the chakras, connecting heaven and earth energies. So your base chakra is the closest to the earth. It has to do with earth. And your crown chakra is closest to the heavens, has to do with the heavens. Higher consciousness, enlightenment, inspiration, the head center, the 1,000-petaled lotus, corresponds to the universal self, or your soul, the divine reality, the power of consciousness. Intuition, insight, psychic awareness, ESP, the center of command, relates to the mind, the individual self, the power of inner perception, and insight beyond the 5 senses. So that's your higher consciousness, your crown chakra. Okay, the third eye chakra has to do with intuition, insight, psychic awareness, ESP, and we kind of read that in the other one too. Your mind, your intuition, your perception, the sight beyond the 5 senses. Okay, the throat chakra has to do with creativity, speech, individual needs and will, the very pure, relates to ether, the respiratory system, the higher intelligence, that's in here, for several of these, the power of communication. The heart chakra has to do with love, forgiveness, compassion, self-esteem, the center of unstuck sounds of the subtle body, air element, the circulatory system, the individualized soul, the emotion of love. And your navel chakra has to do with desire, vitality, inner strength, self-control, city of gems. And that's, what they call it by its, area. It is part of digestion, and it's the beginning of your reproductive system. Corresponds to the element fire. Governs the digestive system, the ego impulse, and the emotion anger. And then the sacral chakra, which is, like I said, lower abdomen, has to do with relationships, sexuality, intimacy, abode of Kundalini. It's believed that at the base of your spine, you have a reserve of Kundalini, or power, energy. And the goal is to, they picture it as a serpent coiled at the base of your spine, and the goal is to have it raise, up through the spine, through your chakras. And some Christian people have a problem with it being a serpent, so you can imagine it being a plant. If you have a problem with it being a serpent, the point is, the root is there in your sacral chakra, and you want the energy to rise up and grow. So if you want, you can picture it as being a plant that grows from the roots up through the chakras and blooms, out through your crown. I kind of like that one. We're a beautiful lotus. We start in the mud and we come up. Has to do with the water element, governs the sex instinct, the urogenital system, and the emotion desire. And the root chakra has to do with survival, security, primal energy. The root center is what it's called, relates to the earth element, governs all eliminations, the survival instinct, the emotion fear. So, subtle bodies of man. According to ancient Hindu teachings, the human being consists of many subtle bodies. Through these subtle bodies and their inherent consciousnesses, we contain the entire universe and all of its levels, because we're all made from the same stuff. These bodies are the different vehicles of consciousness and the encasements for the inner being. Only the physical body is a body in the usual sense. So what a lot of people believe, if you believe in the universal energy or God, it doesn't really matter. We all believe that there's a spiritual component to the universe, and the thing that makes you alive, the soul within you, is a spark or a piece of that spiritual consciousness to make you alive. Otherwise, you're a bunch of clay and calcium, and until that spark happens to bring you alive, you're nothing. You're like this table, or a rock, or the mud on the ground. We come from the dust, we return to the dust. So without that spark of life, you're not alive. So that's what they're talking about when they're talking about your internal consciousness, and you being part of the universe. These bodies are different vehicles. Okay, we did that. Only the physical body is a body in the usual sense, meaning it's a body that you can touch, you can see, your senses can relate to a person's physical body. The astral body, so you can call it your ghost, your soul, whatever, has the same form as the physical, but it is made of subtle matter, spirit. So that's why, people, can't really see ghosts unless, the ghost is trying really hard. I don't know if you watch the movie Ghost, but that's what some people believe. That, it's your spirit, your soul, and it's, a different body. The causal or mental body is a body of light. Each body relates to a state of consciousness. Typically, the physical body is the waking state. The astral body is the dream state. Because, I'm pretty sure everybody, most people do have dreams. There's a few souls who don't have dreams here on the earth. But, you're doing other things. You're in another place. So something's actually happening in your brain where you're in this other place. The causal body is the deep sleep state. And that's when you're not, dreaming at all. The inner self corresponds to the fourth state, the ever wakeful state of pure awareness. And that would be, your soul. You're purely aware of everything, and you're not concerned with the physical. Because one day your physical body's going to end, and then what you going to do? Where are you going to run to all on that day? Okay, now we're going to talk about the endocrine system with female sex glands shown in the inset. I will show you the picture, but you're not going to be able to get much out of that. But there's, the picture of the endocrine system. But I'll tell you all about it. The pineal body is in the center, of your brain. My son actually had a cyst on his pineal gland that worried us, and we were getting MRIs and all that. They said it was nothing to worry about it, so we're not going to worry about it. The pituitary gland, which is, right in here in the middle of your brain. Your thyroid, which a lot of people have problems with their thyroid, which is right here at the base of your throat. Your thymus, which is further down, the throat. The adrenal glands, which are above your kidneys. The islands of Langerhans, which is in your pancreas. And then, of course, if you're a woman, you have ovaries. And if you're a man, you have testes. Excuse me. The endocrine system. The hand positions taught for a Reiki session correspond roughly to the 7 major chakras. In turn, the chakras correspond to the glands of the endocrine system. See, we're getting into some science now for any of you who thought, ooh, touchy-feely, woo, send you good energy, Reiki. That's all there was to it. Sorry, there's some science to it. Which are particularly sensitive to Reiki energy. The endocrine glands produce an internal secretions or hormones. Hormones are chemical-like substances manufactured by the endocrine glands, and their overall function is to regulate the activities of various body organs. Hormones are sometimes referred to as chemical messengers. Since the endocrine glands have no ducts, they seem to have made up for this lack by an extensive blood vessel network into which the hormones are deposited. The pineal body, remember that's the one in here. The pineal body, located between the 2 parts of the thalamus deep in the brain, produce a hormone in a number of animals, possibly also in humans. And there's been more research, of course, in animals. They don't really like to, open people's head up and start messing around with things because that can have some bad side effects. The hormone melatonin acts on the pigment cells of the skin and probably regulates release of certain substances from the hypothalamus, which is, also in your brain. These in turn may ultimately regulate secretion of gonadotrophins from the pituitary anterior lobe. Recent research suggests that the pineal body produces a hormone called adrenoglomerulotropin, say that fast, which activates production of aldosterone by the adrenal cortex. The pineal body is often associated with the crown chakra or the third eye chakra because it's, in between the middle of your head there, in Eastern philosophy. The pineal gland is included in Reiki teaching and Tantra yoga practices because it is thought to be a key to accessing a paranormal state and dimension. That's what they think that little guy in there does. The pituitary or master gland, and that's the one that's in here in the middle. The pituitary is often associated with the third eye. So it depends on your school of thought there. Some say the pineal, the higher up one, or some say there. It depends on your school of thought. It is a small gland about the size of a cherry. It is nearly surrounded by bone, except for its area of connection with the brain, because, you got bone all around your face. It is located in a depression just behind the point of optic nerve crossing. So, like I said, it's behind your eye, kind of between the eye and ear, right in the center of your brain there. It has two important parts called the anterior and posterior lobes, each of which produces several hormones. The anterior lobe produces the growth-promoting or somatotrophic hormone, the gonadotropic hormones, which control the reproductive systems, the thyrotropic hormone, which stimulates the thyroid glands for activity. And one of my sons has to take thyroid medication, and I have an aunt who had to have hers removed and takes thyroid medication. So that's something that commonly goes wrong, in people. The adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH, which stimulates the adrenal gland. The lactogenic hormone, which stimulates milk production in females who have given birth. The posterior lobe stores and releases three hormones which are apparently produced by the hypothalamus, from which they flow down nerve fibers to the posterior lobe of the pituitary. Their functions are to stimulate the smooth muscles of the blood vessels, to promote reabsorption of water in kidney tubules, to stimulate contraction of muscles of the uterus. And we're talking about the thing, a size of a cherry, in the center of your brain that's in charge of these things. And now you know how wondrous and delicate your body is. A small thing the size of a cherry would take nothing to wipe it out, is in charge of all those functions. It goes missing, gets damaged, goes wrong. All those functions now are not going to work without medical assistance. Think your body's not a miracle? The hypothalamus, which is located immediately above the pituitary gland, produces substances that act as chemical messengers, and they are called neurohormones. They are carried through special blood vessel pathways directly to the pituitary, and they regulate I hate that word, secretory, or, because of secretions, because it sounds like you're saying something's a secret. Activity of the pituitary relating to the stimulation and regulation of the ovaries and testes. The thyroid gland. This is the largest of the endocrine glands and is located in the neck or either side of the voice box. It has two oval parts called lateral lobes connected by a narrow band. This gland produces the hormone thyroxine. The principal function of thyroxine is to regulate metabolism for the production of heat and energy in the body tissues. An adequate supply of iodine in the blood is necessary to produce this hormone. An underactive thyroid gland produces the characteristics of hypothyroidism. Cretinism is a lack of thyroid activity from birth, resulting in a failure of physical growth or dwarfism and mental development. Myxedema is the result of atrophy of the thyroid in an adult, and that's the ones we're most commonly, familiar with. The person becomes sluggish mentally and physically. There is also dry skin and hair and a swelling of the facial tissues. And, that's kind of something I noticed on my son, was around here, he started looking like he had a protruding brow. And I was like, you need to go to the doctor. I think you might have some thyroid stuff happening. And sure enough, he did. Hyperthyroidism is overactivity of the thyroid gland. Metabolism is stepped up to a terrific rate. The common form of hyperthyroidism is Graves' disease, in which there is bulging of the eyes, a strained appearance of the face, intense nervousness, weight loss, a rapid pulse, sweating, and a tremor. And I believe Mrs. Bush had Graves' disease. The parathyroid glands. Behind the thyroid gland and embedded in its capsule are four tiny bodies called parathyroid glands. The hormone produced by these glands is called parathormone, and regulates the amount of calcium dissolved in the circulating blood. I wish I could still speak normally. That would be great. Too little of this hormone results in muscle contractions involving the hand and face muscles. Too much parathormone causes calcium to be removed from the bones and poured into the bloodstream. Because of the outpouring of calcium, the bones become soft and easily bent. It is believed that the excess of calcium is one cause of kidney stones. And, my dad has a problem with those. And I've known other people who do too. Okay, well, that's all for today. I hope you found it educational, informational, or at least entertaining. But I will put the link in the description if you would like to, make a gift to help me continue to present these educational programs. I do have to have a computer and, internet and ink and paper, But thanks. And this is it for now. Till next time.